Hi, this is Mae H Mia K, and we are extremely excited to welcome you to our History Fair project, Measurement Changes in History. We will be talking about the decimal time change during the French Revolution, Australia's change to the International System of Units, and Canada's change to the metric system.
The decimal time change was a time when France had a calendar mostly based off multiples of 10. The new time was a 10-hour day with 100 minutes per hour and 100 seconds per minute. Each day was divided into 10 equal parts, with 0 making the start, midnight, and 5 as the midpoint, noon. This meant that every hour was more than twice as long as an hour of standard time. Clocks and watches were even made showing both decimal time and standard time, which led to a lot of confusion.
Canada chose to change to the metric system on April 1st, 1975. They decided to also change to Celsius. Although they decided to undergo this big change, they never completely pulled through. You may hear someone say that if they are 6'2", touching a 3-meter ceiling is a bit of a stretch. This means that they will use metric units, but U.S. customary will slip into the conversation.
Before 1970, Australia mostly used imperial units, inherited from the United Kingdom. However, between 1970 and 1988, imperial units were withdrawn from general legal use and replaced with the International System of Units.
Our History Fair project integrates with the History Fair theme, rights and responsibilities in history, because people have the right to change their way of measurement or to have the same measurement as everybody else. However, the government also has the responsibility to ensure that everyone agrees with the new system and that it isn't confusing. However, they should not just make it a government decision to change the measurement, they should also have the people decide.
Our History Fair project also integrates with the Looking Glass theme, determining what is right and wrong, systems and mortality, because the government determines what new system of measurement they want to have and what people think is right or wrong. This is because if the people don't like the new way of measurement, it would be wrong to use it and right to change it. However, if many people like and use the new way of measurement, it would be wrong to change it and right to use it.
The decimal time change was brought into place on November 24, 1793. This idea was actually suggested in 1754 by mathematician Jean Le Rond d'Alembert. Jean Le Rond d'Alembert had inspiration from the base 10 number system that had existed since ancient times and believed that it would be easier and more convenient to find times that were divisible by 10. The reason that France tried to start the decimal time change right there and then was because that this was during the French Revolution and they wanted to show others that they could be independent.
Australia primarily used imperial units, which were inherited from the United Kingdom prior to 1970. With the help of laws and government organizations, imperial units were removed from widespread legal usage between 1970 and 1988. Then they were replaced with the International System of Units. In Australia, SI units are currently the only recognized units of measurement. In contrast to the metrication in the United States and United Kingdom, Australia's largely successful transition to the metric system is comparable to the one of that in New Zealand. Metric units were first made legal in Australia in 1947 when the country signed the meter conversion, also known as the Conversion to Meter, despite discussions about adopting the metric system in the country's first post-federation parliament. However, until the Commonwealth government started the metric shift in the 1970s, imperial weights and measures were most frequently used. SI units, which were later defined as Australia's legal units of measurement, served as the foundation for the country's measurement standards.
In Canada, metrication started in 1970 and ended in 1985. Non-metric units and standards continue to be popular in many areas of the Canadian economy and daily life, even though the country has switched to the metric system for many purposes. Historical ties to the United Kingdom, Canada's long-standing use of the imperial system for measurements, interconnected supply networks with the United States, and resistance to metrication throughout the transition period are the main causes of this. In their daily lives, Canadians usually combine metric and imperial measurements. Despite the government policy, imperial measures are nonetheless applied in a number of areas, including human height and weight. Discussing the weather, Canadians usually use degrees Celsius by gasoline in liters and pay attention to speed limits in kilometers per hour. They also read maps and road signs that show distances in kilometers. Although most speedometers display smaller numbers in miles per hour, cars also include odometers and metric speedometers.
In conclusion, our chosen topic matters because it shows how changes in measurement can make a big difference in a normal person's life. They can be successful, which will lead to a big difference because people will have to use it and get used to their new way of measurement. However, they can also not be made official. This is mainly because they are harder to implement and convert to what other people are using. It's also significant because it shows examples of how people adapt and change to what they will and will not accept. This helps people understand what or what not to change, and if they do change it, what the change should look like.
We can learn a lot of historical importance about these findings. Many places tried to change their measurement systems because they thought that theirs were unsuccessful and not worthy. Therefore, they changed their measurement systems to things that they thought were better and easier to implement. The societies that changed their ways learned whether they were easier or not. This is significant because either people learn from their mistakes or they learn what is best. During the French Revolution, France used decimal time. They changed to a 10-hour day with 100 minutes an hour and 100 seconds a minute. Also, Australia changed from the imperial system of units to the international system of units. This caused a lot of changes in measurement, such as how things were sold, the way kids were taught at school, and how goods were packaged. Lastly, Canada changed to be half metric because they wanted to be independent, but then stopped changing their system. However, nobody wanted to continue or get rid of all the work they had already done, so they are now mostly metric, but have some customary units of measurement. The metric system, developed during the Age of Enlightenment, has become the most widely used measurement system, with new systems emerging to accommodate revolution, change, and new countries.